pretty awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And if anybody shows up in the middle, that's totally fine. We'll have fun with it. So, first of all, I'm Van Davis. I'm the programs coordinator at the College of Eastern Idaho. And I usually have a co host, a co facilitator. Her name is Jennifer Lopez. Unfortunately, she's sick, so she won't be able to join us today. That's okay though, because I'll be talking about the portions that she was planning on going over today anyway. So hopefully we'll see her next time that we're in class. All right. So last week was our first two sessions of this class, and we went through a lot of stuff last week. And since it's been a weekend, I want to just review right now. So I'm just I'm going to do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to ask you some questions and see if you can figure out where in Zoom you're able to do that. All right. So first, down at the very bottom of your screen, you're going to see all those little controls, even if you're on your phone. Now, you might have to wiggle the mouse on your screen because they like to disappear, which is good. You know, the least amount of distractions when you're in a meeting with somebody. But just wiggling your mouse will review all those buttons. The furthest buttons to the left, the microphone and one that looks like a camera, by far the most important. So Joyce, I don't know if you remember this from the videos that you watched, but if you click stop video, does it stop your entire meeting?
It does not, because I had clicked it.
That's exactly right. I've had some people who get confused because their webcam goes away and they think the whole meeting's just gone. No, really all it does is it covers up your webcam. Like I can do that with my hand, but I don't want to hold my hand there the entire time. So I can just click the stop video button. But audio keeps going. It's never an issue. Now, if you want to stop audio, that's why there's a microphone button there. And that's super important. Whenever you have a large group of people together, being able to mute everybody just makes it that much easier to get everybody learning at the same pace without a lot of distractions. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you some of the more advanced options that you can do, especially with video. But for now, I want you to explore some more of the buttons that are down there. All right, so let's say you like what I'm talking about and you wanted to give me a thumbs up. How do you give me a thumbs up in Zoom? Well, I mean, yes, Lisa, you can physically give me a thumbs up, but I mean, what button helps you do a thumbs up in Zoom? Matt just did it. At the very bottom of the screen. Hey, good job, Lisa. Lisa just did it. Joyce, do you know how to give me a thumbs up in Zoom? That's okay. Down at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a little smiley face, and it says reactions.
Under reactions. Okay, I see it.
Go ahead, try it out. There you go. There's a thumbs up. So you can use all sorts of reactions. One of my favorite things is that you can actually change skin color on it so that it reflects what your natural skin tone is, no matter in what meeting that you have. So I think that's a really nice and inclusive feature of Zoom. In addition to that, let's say you have a lot of people in here and you want to know who all is in here. Where can I go to see a list of everybody in this meeting? What's that button called?
Under participants?
That's exactly right. Even before you click the button, it's going to show you the number of people that are currently in that meeting. Go ahead and click on participants. Everybody has that button, and you're able to see everybody on the far right-hand side. Actually, earlier today, I was in a very large Zoom meeting. There is about 36 people that were on. So it was a lot of people. And the way Zoom works is it generally tries to fit like maybe 15 to 20 people on a page, because once you start to try to fit everybody in, it just gets so tiny that you can't make out anybody anyway. But you end up using this participants list a lot. So if you have a large gathering of people, like family, or maybe even for a meeting, that participants list lets you know who's there, who's not there, and maybe even who's having issues or trouble. Over on that participants list, you can see that there's for me as a host, I have the ability to mute people if I feel like I need to mute people. So, for instance, I've had times when someone decided to take a phone call in the middle of a Zoom, and then you can hear what they're saying, and it's just making everybody feel awkward. So I can just boop, turn off someone's microphone if I need to, just by clicking on the little microphone symbol that's next to them. It gives me some options, and one of them's mute. So it's really handy. All right. So let's let's close out of this. So to close out of the participants screen, you can just click the participants button again and the whole thing goes away. Now, after doing that, let's say that you want to, maybe you don't have a webcam, or maybe you don't have any audio capabilities on your device, but you still want to participate in the meeting. How else can you communicate in a Zoom meeting? What's another tool? Hey, Matt just popped it up. It's chat. It's absolutely chat. Oh, hi. Hello, Lisa. So I'm just going to click on the chat button down at the bottom, and it'll show me not only everybody who's chatting, but I can start chatting as well just by typing in. Very similar to instant messaging or even texting somebody, the way that it's designed. Hello, world. Ta-da. Now, in this chat function, it's a great way to communicate with everybody all at once, so that if I ask a question, everyone can just chime in and boom, it's just another way to communicate. Especially the larger the meeting, what you'll tend to find out is that 2 or 3 people end up talking while everybody else will just go to the chat and just start chatting with each other from there. Even in family Zooms that I did, you'll end up with people who are just doing some back channeling. Speaking of which, can you do private messages in chat? Absolutely. You're right, Matt. All you have to do is at the very bottom of the chat screen, there's a 2, and then it gives you a drop down menu. By clicking on that, it allows you to choose anybody that's in the meeting, and I can send a private message to them. So for instance, I just selected Matt and I just said, what's up to him. Now you can't see it, Joyce and Lisa, but Matt can. And so that way we can have private conversations with each other while a Zoom is going on. That just makes it so that you have lots of different avenues. For instance, how this is used for me sometimes is occasionally I'll be talking and talking and talking, and someone will have to remind me, hey, I think it's time for a break. So they'll just do a private message to me to say, can we have a break? And that's my little reminder to be like, oh, got to remember the small things, right? All right. Now, other than the controls at the bottom, let's talk about some other things. For instance, setting up an account in Zoom. So everyone currently in this meeting is here by invitation. I sent you the link and you're able to just join in. And that's the great thing about Zoom, is that anybody can just join in as long as you have a compatible device, which happens to be almost everything nowadays. But if you want to be a host and you want the ability to make your own meetings and invitations, you have to set up your own account first. And in our first day of class, we went over that by a very good tutorial by Jen. So I won't go over all the details of that, but I just wanted to kind of put that back into everybody's heads, especially when it comes to some of the more advanced things that we're going to be talking about a little bit later today. You're going to need that account. All right. The oh, here's a good one. How do you share a screen? What button do you click to share a screen?
The big button at the bottom.
That's right. The big green button right there. I love the fact that they just make it green. They know that people just want to make it as easy as possible. This is one of the most whiz-bang features of Zoom and really makes it indispensable no matter in what kind of meeting that you're having. To be able to have someone see the exact same thing that you see is kind of miraculous. So I'm actually going to have to share my screen a little bit later, so I'll talk more about it then. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is not only can you share what's on the screen, can you share your videos? Like, for instance, can you share a YouTube clip or maybe a funny viral video that someone shared with you on Facebook? Can you do that through Zoom? Matt's saying yes, once again. The important thing about that is you have to make sure that you click optimize for video and optimize for audio before you do anything like that. The way I described it last Wednesday is you're asking Zoom to share a video while making a video, while getting other people's videos and broadcasting a video. So it's way more complex than it sounds. And so just clicking those two little buttons in the options just makes it that much easier to do everything.
Excuse me, is
Yes,
that under the more on the bottom screen? How do you get to do that?
Oh, no. What you would need to do is you would need to click the green share button that's at the bottom of your screen.
Okay.
As soon as you click the green share button, it's going to pop up not only what you can share, but it's also going to have these little options at the bottom of the screen: share computer sound and optimize screen sharing.
I see it.
Yep. That just makes it so that it's that much smoother whenever you're doing anything. It's a pretty handy feature.
Thank you.
All right. So I want to be able to answer any questions that anybody has. Joyce, this is your first time joining us live, and I know you had a chance to view the videos. Is there anything that popped up that you'll like to know or you have questions about?
Well, I'll practice trying to set up an account, and then maybe next Wednesday I'll be able to ask questions if I can't do it.
Okay, that's totally fine. One of the things I like to remind you is that Zoom accounts are free. They're called basic accounts, and that makes it so that you can create a meeting, do invitations, and most importantly, that makes you a host, which means that you have the ability to send invitations, record things, do all sorts of cool things like that. One of the things I actually wanted to talk about today is what you get if you decide to pay for a license with Zoom, which is not required, by the way. It's not required for you in order to just talk to family members and whatnot, but there might be some reasons why you like that. Anything else, Joyce? Any other questions that you might have had?
Not right now. It's a matter of practicing and finding out what I can do.
Okay, that's totally fine. What about you, Matt? What about you, Lisa? Any questions that you've had come up?
I do got a question for you, Van. And,
yeah.
This has to do with the technology that you're using when you are old. Right now, I'm on my old laptop because I actually forgot my new one at work. So when you do things like backgrounds or share videos, some of this old technology doesn't work as well. It will make it spotty or it won't share it very well. So what's best is to have the newest versions of things so that you can get more optimization out of things. I've noticed that if I try to use stuff on this old one, like virtual backgrounds, it won't work.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about today is how to use virtual backgrounds and how to make it look as good as possible. Virtual backgrounds is another one of the whiz bang features of Zoom that gets a lot of press. People really like that aspect of it, but not everybody can use it. So I'm interested to see if everybody has that capability on their particular devices that they're on. All right. So Lisa, did you have any questions or comments?
I don't.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and teach you something new. Since I brought up backgrounds, let's talk about backgrounds right now.
Good.
So backgrounds allow you to change your surroundings without having to go anywhere. And frankly, probably most of the people that use it do it so that they can hide their messy living rooms and offices and things like that. So earlier I said that I'm currently in my daughter's bedroom right now. It's the quietest place in the house. So if I did not want you to know that, I could, of course, just stop my video and then you can't see anything, but now you can't see my face. So rather than do that, I'm going to give myself a background. So at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see the video camera button that says stop video, but you're also going to see an arrow that's pointing up. Go ahead and click on that arrow that's pointing up on the stop video button. This gives you your video options. Right there, for me, it's the second result. You'll see choose virtual background. So go ahead and click on choose virtual background. And for me, it just popped up a little window. So, and it's working for Matt already, I can tell. Now, most Zoom accounts already come with some backgrounds integrated into it. And so I am about to change to one of the included backgrounds. Yeah, same as Matt's. It just comes with it. Now, you can see right away that it's not exactly perfect, and it really depends. And this is what Matt was talking about. So when you pick out a background for yourself, one thing that you need to keep in mind is where your surroundings are at. What Zoom does is it can tell that you have a face and it can get a general outline of your body. And it's smart enough to know kind of where you're at and where to find you. It just made me go all dark all of a sudden. Here we go, coming back into the light. But it's not a genius at everything, and it needs a little bit of help. So for instance, right now, you might be able to see that there's a part of my background that seems to be fuzzy, like it's showing something else. That's a poster that's on my daughter's back wall. And for some reason, it thinks that it's a part of my face. It thinks it's a part of my body. Maybe it's because we have similar skin tones, or maybe the lighting is similar, or it just is the right kind of shape that it thinks that it needs to include. It's trying its best. So what I can do is I can change my background a little bit. And you notice that it's a little bit better now. It has a better outline of my body. And that's because directly behind me is just a wall with some objects on it that it's not confusing with the human body anymore. So that's one of the steps I would try is if you're trying this and it looks weird, change your location. Another helpful thing to do is to improve your lighting. Now, for me, whenever I'm in these meetings, I need to find myself a good source of lighting. to make sure that I show up very well in the video. So I always, sometimes I go to different rooms. Sometimes, if I can, I'll even turn on and turn off lights. I'll even get a lamp if I know that I need one. Actually, one of the interesting industries that have really boomed during this whole time is the lighting industry. There are these manufacturers that that they used to make lighting for usually uh, uh, television or even for movies or for any type of studio work. And they started selling that same lighting to consumers, to just regular people now, because people realize they need more light. Hey, Lisa, I saw you got a background now. Merry Christmas. There
It
you
was
go.
really hard to figure it out on my phone,
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
I got it.
You got
It's
it.
actually under the more, and then you have to click into something else and then background. But I did
Oh,
figure it
okay.
out. And it didn't come with a preset. I just used one from my
Oh,
phone. So
I was wondering if it would do that when it's on the phone. Especially on the phone, most people already have some photo on their phone, so maybe that's why I just assumed you didn't need any extra. Now, I'm kind of wondering about you, Joyce. Do you have the option to do a virtual background? Does it give you that option?
I do not because my computer's too old. So
A-
it's
And that's okay. That's okay. That's one of the things that I found out as well. Your mileage also varies because of the equipment that you use. So, my usual machine that I use for my Zoom meetings is actually fairly new. I just put it together myself this past March, so just about 9 months ago. So it's fairly new. I built it just so everybody knows. I do a lot of video and audio editing when I'm at home. So I needed a machine that allowed me to do that. And lo and behold, COVID-19 happened. And all of a sudden I found out, oh, this is a great streaming machine too. I can have like multiple Zoom meetings going at the same time. Like it can handle all that. And that includes backgrounds. But right now I'm on a laptop and it's an okay laptop. It has the ability to do the outlines of my body, but it's not quite as good looking as my computer that I built about 9 months ago. So for you, Joyce, your computer, uh, for whatever reason, does not want to give you the option to do virtual backgrounds. And that's okay. It might change if you decide to do this on your phone, or next time you upgrade your computer, you might have the ability to do so. In fact, I would say probably any new computer over the last year or so should automatically give you the ability to do everything like this.
good.
So just something to keep in mind. But virtual backgrounds can keep things fun. What some people don't do, though, is virtual videos, because you can add videos in your background as well. So, for instance, I just downloaded a video of an aquarium. Ta-da! It actually works out pretty well. I feel like I'm just floating with the fishies right now. What's funny about this is, especially with my family, I do these crazy backgrounds all the time. So they're always asking me, how'd you do a background? And uh, when they figure that out and they get that first move-in background or that first picture of something, it always blows their mind. That's one of my favorite things to do. Now, a lot of people ask, where do you even get these backgrounds? It's simple. I just use the internet. That's it. I go to any web browser and I literally just type in Zoom background. Believe me, there are dozens of websites. Almost all of it's free. And my recommendation is look for a website that's reputable, that you trust the name brand to. For instance, I got, let me show you this background that I downloaded just today. I got this background. Here we go. Just today, and I got it from goodhousekeeping.com. the same place as the magazine. The magazine has a website, and they have these free Zoom backgrounds. They give you a little link, you click on it, boom, you have it downloaded to your computer. Now all you have to do is just tell Zoom to add it into your computer. It's pretty fun. The last thing I want to show you about doing these Zoom backgrounds, and this is something that's really advanced. So only try this if you have a fairly new device that you're doing this on. They started doing something called filters. And with the filter, it allows you to do some funny things. So for instance, I'm going to put a hat on, well, it looks like a hat, kind of looks like a pizza on my head. It kind of follows me around. Yeah. See, it's trying its best. See, I can have a little bit of fun with these filters. These filters are very similar to what a lot of social media apps do nowadays. So if you have kids that use TikTok, Snapchat, or if you yourself like to use Facebook Messenger, almost all of those services have something similar where they just allow you to do a fun little filter for your background. You can even do things like this. Hey, it looks like I'm a giant head on a stage. Wow. You know, if you want to do that, it's perfectly within your options to do that. So I'm going to turn all this stuff off. Not for any particular reason, but it just makes it easier for you to see me. And the last thing I want to show you when it comes to video is your own video settings. This is super important for me because so many times when I get on a new webcam, like if I have a new device that I'm using, I have to almost always go in and tune the brightness. Most cameras make me show up too dark so that it's hard to see my face and my hands and whatnot. So I usually have to go into settings and make myself look brighter, which isn't very fun to do in Windows, just so you know. But Zoom has it built in. So if you, for you, Lisa, it's probably the more button, but for everybody else, if you click on that arrow next to the stop video button, it'll allow you to pull up video settings. Now, this is the part where I don't want to get too deep into it. Zoom has a lot of settings. And if you don't feel comfortable making changes, I'd usually just say, just let Zoom do all the work. But in this particular instance, I think there's two cool things that Zoom does that I think it's cool to point out. The first one is you should see an option that says touch up my appearance. What this does is it automatically smooths out your face. Now, it should be very subtle. It's not meant to be like, oh, all of a sudden I look like Denzel Washington. It shouldn't be that drastic, although it does have a little slider so that if you do want it to be a little more drastic, you have that ability to do so. This is another one where your mileage may vary. It depends on your lighting. It depends on your camera. There's just lots of ways that could be different. The next option underneath is called adjust for low light. And this is the one that I like to use. So when I click on adjust for low light, Zoom is smart enough to figure out that, hey, my face doesn't show up very well. So we're going to try to brighten things up a little bit. So this is the difference between the adjust for auto light being on and it being off. On, off. So it should be changing the video signal that I'm sending to you to make me look a little bit brighter as I'm doing it. It's very, very handy. So if you find yourself in a dark room, or maybe you have a dark office, or maybe you're doing, a lot of times you do a Zoom meeting after dark, you just don't have very much light in your house. That adjust for low light really helps out, and it makes it so that people can actually see your face. So once you get into these video settings, you want to close out of them by clicking on the X that's on the right-hand side. For you, Lisa, usually there's some sort of back button or something that allows you to get back to where you need to be. So that's it for backgrounds. Does anyone have any questions about setting up your own backgrounds or what a background can do? Okay. So one of the things I wanted to point out real quick is breakout rooms. Breakout rooms allow you to put everybody in your particular Zoom meeting into their own separate room, oftentimes with other people. So only the host has the ability to do this. So when you look at the bottom of your screen, you're probably not going to see the button. But when you're the host, you have the ability to take people and put them into their own little Zoom session so that they can talk and no one else can hear them. So for instance, I'm going to start a breakout room and I'm going to split everybody up. So I just pulled up the option. I'm going to create 2 rooms and I'm just going to let Zoom figure it out. So I'm going to disappear for a little bit. It's okay. I promise we're all in the same Zoom meeting and I'll bring us right back in about 10 seconds. Okay. It's like you're going into a timeout. It's kind of fun. All right, here you go. Okay. Now you should have an option that's invited you to join a room. Lisa just disappeared and Matt just disappeared. So Joyce, you and I are all in. Oh, Joyce is in her own room. Let me go join her. It's me. So the great thing about this is if I really needed to have a one-on-one meeting with somebody for some reason, maybe I'm with a family member and I need to discuss something kind of sensitive and I don't want everybody else to hear it, a breakout room allows us to have our own private chat without anyone else being able to hear. So it's actually pretty nice that way.
But only the host can set that up.
Yep, only the host can do it. Not anybody can just go and do their own separate meeting. Okay, what I'm going to do is leave the room and I'm going to bring everybody back, okay?
Okay.
Just a second. Welcome back, Lisa. Oh, Joyce is here, Matt's here. Everyone came back. Breakout rooms are really handy. Oh, hi. How's it going? Breakout rooms are really handy if you just want to split everybody up, especially if you have a large group. It allows everybody to just kind of go into their own separate space for their own time, and then you can just bring them back in. So the last thing that I wanted to talk to everybody about today is polls. Now, this is something that is only for those who are licensed or they pay the monthly fee for Zoom. Not everybody has the ability to make polls. However, if you're the host, then you can put polls in any of the meetings that you create. So for instance, I'm using a school account. And because his school account is officially licensed, that means I have the ability to create polls. And during these polls, I can show you any question that I want that I built previously. So right now, I'm going to launch a poll. It's called Holiday Movies. Now, I want everybody to make a selection on your poll. Okay. It looks like everybody who can vote has voted. So I'm going to end the polling. And what I can do, well, I'll show you in just a little bit, but I can now, as the host, share the results to everybody. And now you can see all your different results. And what's funny is everybody voted for something different. Everybody has different tastes. I'm going to go ahead and assume, Matt, you're the Die Hard guy. There you go. He likes the movie Die Hard. It is a good movie. I'm personally preferential to Charlie Brown Christmas, but as the host, I'm not able to actually post in the poll. I have to let everybody else do it. So what I want to show you is how to make your own poll. It's actually quite easy. Oh, let me just launch that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen now. And I'll show you what I'm looking at. All right, perfect. So when you go to create a poll, when you click the poll button, it'll ask you to create one, and then it automatically takes you to a website that looks like this. It says add a poll up at the top. All I have to do is make a name for the poll. You can name it whatever you want. We could title this one favorite side dishes. Maybe I'm a little bit hungry right now. Who knows? And then I can add as many questions as I want to a poll. So let's only make one question, and this question will be, what's your favorite side dish? Now I have the ability to do single choice or multiple choice. Multiple choice just means that if somebody has like multiple side dishes, then they're able to select as many as they want. So I need to put in the answers because this is my poll. I'm creating it. So I'm going to type in mashed potatoes. And then let's go with peas. Let's go with yams. What's another good side dish? Oh, let's go corn on the cob. And I actually have multiple results. I can just keep going if I really want a long poll. So I'll just put in one more. Let's go with just candy corn. Why not? Candy corn can be a side dish. Don't judge me. All right. If I want to add another question, I could just click the add question button, but I don't want to. I just want to save it. And once I've saved it, it's now officially in my meeting. And now it's showing me all the different polls that I've created for this particular meeting. So what I'm going to do right now is stop sharing. And now I'm going to open up my new poll. And now all of you have the ability to vote in my new poll. And this time you can vote multiple times if you want to, if you're a big fan of candy corn and regular corn. Okay. And let's share the results with everybody. Ooh, looks like mashed potatoes and candy corn. Oh my goodness. Man, why not? Especially if you can mix them all together with a little bit of gravy on top. You never know. You never know. So a poll is only available if you decide to pay for your own account, but you'll be surprised by, you might already have the ability to have access to a licensed Zoom account. For instance, your workplace, you might work at a job where they already have a Zoom license. and you can use that Zoom license. And of course, talk to your job. If you want to use it for personal reasons, like for a family meeting, then maybe talk to your job to see if they're cool with you using that. Because unfortunately, when one person's using Zoom, then that means other people can't use that exact same Zoom. So you want to make sure that you're not taking up resources. But if you are interested, it is a relatively small fee a month, I believe, for Zoom. But once again, it is not required at all. Just something you need to do if you plan on having long, large meetings, or if you want to use certain features like polls, for instance. All right. Oh, my screen keeps going dark. I think the reason why it does that, and this is actually something that's interesting, is there is a bright light directly above me. And so if I make the webcam go to the bright light, there you go. It tries to compensate, and so it makes my entire window just incredibly dark. So I can bring it back to normal by moving my camera, and that makes it so that I have a normal face again. Hi, everybody. All right. So that's it. That's it for today's class. Does anybody have any questions about polls or virtual backgrounds or breakout rooms, anything like that?
For the polls, does that automatically, do you know who is responding to the questions?
Oh, that's a good question. The polls are usually anonymous. The only thing that it will track is it will show you how many out of your current participants have voted in the poll. So let's say you have 10 people in your meeting. It'll show you that 5 out of the 10 people have responded, or 10 out of your 10 people have responded. So that's a handy way to make sure that everybody has said something. But you know what? That's a good question. There might be a way to make it so that you can see who actually responded to what poll. Let me look into that and I can give you an answer by Wednesday.
Okay, I was just curious.
No, that's a good question. That's a very good question. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions for our today's class? All right. So Wednesday at 2 p.m. will be our last day. What I plan to do is not only will I answer any questions that anyone has, but I want to actually show you guys some fun things that you can do with Zoom. Now that I've shown you all these cool things that make Zoom possible, what can you actually do with it? So that's what we'll talk about on Wednesday. All right. You guys were wonderful. Thank you so much for coming to our class today. I'll see everybody 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Okay?
Thanks, Van.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good
Bye,
class.
everybody.
Bye.